The drama surrounding A'ja Wilson has reached a level no one in the WNBA saw coming. 4 years she stood at the top of the league, revered as the veteran anchor of Team USA, the undeniable force in international play, and the unquestioned voice of the Aces locker room. But the basketball world just watched the ground shift beneath her feet. The moment Team USA released its 2025 player pool, the shockwaves were immediate. Caitlin Clark, still recovering from an ankle injury in Indiana, made the roster without hesitation. And A'ja Wilson, once the heartbeat of the national program, didn't just slip off the list. She was removed from consideration entirely. It was the kind of organizational decision that signals not a temporary demotion, but a fundamental shift in how the country defines leadership, talent, and international readiness. What began as whispered tension between two elite players has erupted into the sport's biggest power realignment in decades. What makes this downfall so dramatic is how invisible it seemed while it was unfolding. Throughout 2024, Wilson moved like someone who believed her position was permanent. Her words, her timing, her online presence, everything she did hinted at someone deeply bothered by Clark's meteoric rise. Even as Clark shattered attendance records and dragged an entire sport into mainstream conversation, Wilson clung to an outdated hierarchy built on seniority rather than momentum. She questioned the hype, dismissed the media attention, and insisted that Real basketball required paying dues. But while she posted, liked, shaded, and deflected, Team USA was watching. They monitored behavior as much as athletic performance. They watched how Clark handled pressure, how she navigated jealousy without engaging, how she maintained dignity in the middle of an unprecedented media storm. And they watched Wilson's responses too. The committee didn't just judge stats anymore. They judged character, adaptability, and how well a player represented the country beyond the box score. When Wilson finally learned she had been excluded from the pool in late December, her response was devastatingly predictable. People close to the situation described frantic calls, disbelief, and an immediate scramble to blame politics, coaching preferences, anything except personal accountability. She attempted to leverage her past Olympic success, citing years of service that she believed entitled her to automatic inclusion. But the cold truth was already written. This was not a dispute. This was a philosophical shift. The program no longer centered its identity on veterans who relied on WNBA officiating patterns or personality dominance. They were building a roster built for global play, for global appeal, and for global growth. And Clark represented everything the new era demanded. Her game translates anywhere. Her attitude uplifts everyone. Her popularity fuels the sport in ways no marketing department could replicate. Without posting memes or cryptic messages, without dragging teammates into public feuds, without demanding attention, she became the new standard. Wilson's game, once fearsome in the WNBA, has a flaw too large to overlook in international tournaments. Her scoring relies heavily on free throw volume and foul drawing artistry. Under FIBA rules, those whistles disappear. Contact is not rewarded. Physicality is not discouraged. And in those environments, Wilson's efficiency nosedived. She struggled to create offense without referee intervention. She became frustrated when her usual tactics failed. Coaches saw it. Opponents exploited it. It wasn't personal. It wasn't political. It was tactical. Clark, by contrast, loses nothing in translation. Her range stretches defenses on every continent. Her decision-making doesn't rely on officiating. Her footwork, precision, and shot creation operate independently of how tightly or loosely a game is called. USA Basketball did not just choose the bigger name. They chose the more adaptable weapon. But the unraveling didn't stop at the technical level. It seeped into Wilson's personal and team relationships. Her fixation on Clark became a shadow that followed her into Aces meetings and practices. Teammates grew tired of hearing comparisons that no one else was making. Younger players felt uncomfortable, as though supporting Clark's rise meant betraying Wilson's legacy. Coaches attempted quiet intervention, but the pattern continued. Instead of elevating the discussion around the league's newfound popularity, Wilson steered conversations toward resentment. The internal issues became difficult to ignore, especially for a national program that values unity above all else. Sponsors also began taking note. Brands want faces that inspire, not feud. They want ambassadors, not agitators. While Clark's injury barely dented her marketability, Wilson's public outbursts, cryptic posts, and reactionary behavior cast a looming shadow over partnerships that once felt secure. The difference in how each athlete handled pressure became impossible to ignore. Clark, at 23, showcased more poise in adversity than Wilson displayed with a decade of experience. Clark never attacked teammates, never questioned selection decisions, and never painted herself as a victim of shifting narratives. She just worked, recovered, and expressed gratitude. Wilson attempted to rewrite the story once the backlash became impossible to deny. She pushed narratives about personal choice, scheduling conflicts, and needing rest. But then leaked messages and insider reports exposed the truth. She fought desperately to regain her seat at the Team USA table. And nothing worked because the committee had already made its determination. They wanted a team that could handle pressure, elevate each other, and reflect the best of American sportsmanship. And they no longer believed Wilson belonged in that environment. The psychological toll of this fall from grace has reportedly been significant. For years she saw herself as the rightful center of women's basketball, the gatekeeper of fame and legitimacy. Clark's sudden cultural explosion felt like a threat rather than an opportunity. Instead of embracing the moment and aligning herself with the rising tide, Wilson tried to resist it. And in doing so, she alienated the very people who once championed her. Sports psychologists observing the scenario describe her reaction patterns as classic symptoms of an athlete whose self-image has collided with a reality she never prepared for. Not because she wasn't capable, but because she refused to evolve. Now, as Team USA steps into its next era, the message is unmistakable. Leadership is not claimed through trophies alone. Influence is not measured by volume or attitude. And greatness is not threatened by the rise of another star. Clark represents the future. A future built on global excitement, inclusive growth, and a playstyle that captures hearts everywhere. Wilson represents a past defined by rigid hierarchy and internal competition that no longer serves the sport. Her exclusion is not temporary. It is symbolic. The passing of a torch she never wanted to let go of. The WNBA has entered a new age, and Wilson is watching from the outside as it moves forward without her. Thank you for watching. Do you believe A'ja Wilson can rebuild her legacy, or has this moment permanently reshaped the future of women's basketball? And how far do you think Caitlin Clark will take Team USA in this new era? Share your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and